back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be drafting the basic bustier with front zipper. I have my paper here. You can go ahead and fold in half an inch here, like 1 inch, depending on the type of zip you're using. You can go ahead and fold in 1 inch at the end here, but I'm going to be drafting mine in after cutting my basic bodice because the paper is not that wide. So now I'm going to go ahead and I've gone ahead and marked half an inch at the top here, and then I'm going to go ahead and insert my shoulder divided by 2, which is here, and then I'm going to come down by 1 inch of shoulder slope, mark that here, and then after that I'm going to insert my armhole, which you can get by dividing your bust by 6 plus 1.5. So this is going to be my chest line. I'm going to go ahead and roll a line on that part here. So once that is done, this is going to be my chest line, right? Chest line. And then I'm going to also bring down that same shoulder measurement here so that I can be able to connect it all the way to the top, and then all the way to this point here. The next thing is going to be to go ahead and mark from this end here, insert my bust measurement divided by 4. So that is going to be about 10.5 for me. Go ahead and mark it. Measure what I have here from this end here, halfway through this line, which is 9. That's after 1 inch of shoulder slope to this chest line. I have 9. Half of 9 is 4.5. Go ahead and mark it and go in by half an inch, right, from here. And then I'm going to connect from this point of my bust to the half an inch and then to this end here. So guys, once it's done, the next step is to mark from my shoulder to my my bust point, which is basically your shoulder to your nipple line, and then which for me is at 12.75. After that, my shoulder to my under bust, which is at 15.5, and then my shoulder to my waist, which is at 17.5. So I'm going to go ahead and roll these lines. So you're going to go from the end here to mark your nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus half an inch. So for me that will be 4.5. I also marked it on my under bust, and then I also marked it on my waistline, right? And then after that I'm going to connect all 3 together. So once it's connected, the next step is going to be to go ahead and mark. So guys, after marking it, the next step is supposed to be on the inside. You will notice that I'm marking half an inch in there, but I went back and drafted the whole thing over, because when you use half an inch on the inside and then 1.5 towards the one I'm marking now, you notice that when you go to join the 2 sides, one will be longer than the other. So instead, go ahead and divide 1 inch on this side, 1 inch on the other side, instead of half an inch on this side and 1.5 on the other side. Guys, it will still give you a total of the same 2 inches for the bustier. It's just that I find that it's easier to join it when you divide it equally, like 1 inch on the inner one, 1 inch on the outer one, and then connect it to the bust point, than doing the half an inch on the inside and then 1.5 on the outside. Come down on this line by about 1 inch, or you can do 1.5, but I'm going to do 1 inch, and then I'm going to use a curve ruler to connect this inner one here, this outer one like this, and then I'm just going to use a straight ruler to connect the other end here, just like this. And once that is done, the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and mark my neckline. So come back up here again and mark 3 inches for your neckline, and then I'm also going to go down by 3 inches for the neck depth, and then I'm going to give it a curve just like this using my curve ruler. So give it a curve like this. So this is my neck curve now. After that, I'm going to connect from this point to this point for my shoulder slope, just like this. And then once you've connected your shoulder slope, the next thing is to find halfway through this line, halfway through your shoulder slope. So for me, it's 5 here. So halfway through it is going to be at somewhere here, 2.5 or so. So now from this point now, I'm going to connect it to this point here. So go ahead and connect it here, this point, just like this. And then now the next thing we have to do is that we are going to go ahead and draw in our curve for the neckline. So if you want, you can go ahead and use the curve part of your this here, but of your ruler, but I'm just going to freehand it and mark my curve from this point here. So I'm going to go below my chest line. Try not to make it too deep, because you know it's always difficult when you're trying to sew something that has like a sharp angle into another sharp angle. But if you want, you can go deeper with this one, because remember it's a zipper, right? So to sew that end will not be too hard. But if it's for any other thing, like if you're going to be making it in form of a normal bodice and put your zip at the back, then try not to make the deep V to like the curve of this here too deep. This my chest line, you see the chest line, this armhole line, the line that goes into the curve of our armhole, 0.75 by this center part, and then went up here by 1.5 from this line. Went up, the distance from here to here is about 1.5, and then blended it into my bust. This line that I marked here when I divided my bust by 4. So all I had to do is just to connect it from here to this into this line, and then from this line connect it down towards this point here. So that was how I was able to make my own curve. So now all we have to do is just to go ahead and insert the dart for this point. So on the inner part here, I'm going to go by 1 inch. You can do 1 inch on both sides, but I'm going to just do 1 inch here and then 0.75 on this outer part here, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and blend it into this bust point part here. So now all I have to do is to go back and replace all my measurements. So connect it from here now all the way to this point, just like this. So now all I have to do is just to go ahead now and mark. So on this chest line, first thing is that you're going to replace the measurement you have here. So my bust here divided by, so my bust divided by 4 is somewhere here. So now I'm going to take whatever measurement I have on this same chest line still, the chest line, which is this line here, this measurement here, which is about 1.5. I'm going to add it back here by the side, right? You're going to add back your 1.5 by the side. I glued in some pepper here so that I can add in all my measurements. So this is where it's supposed to be, right? And then I'm going to go down to my waist, do the same thing, waist divided by 4, which is 9 for me. And then I went in and added what I have here, which is up to 2 inches here, added it back again. Now after all that, you can go ahead and add the side seam allowance you want to use. So let's say I want to use 1.5. So I'm going to mark 1.5 after this line here. And then at the end of this one also, I'm going to add 1.5. So now let me connect it so you can see where my seam allowances are. So from here to here is my seam allowance here. My armhole still goes in all the way to this point here. And then from here to here also is my seam allowance here. I'm also going to go ahead and rule in like ½ an inch at the shoulder part here. This is going to serve for the shoulder. And then down here, I'm also going to roll in ½ an inch here for the waist. Seam allowance. So now, all I have to do is to we are working with. Like I said before, when you're making this, try to fold the end of your paper. Like before you start, fold in like 1 inch and then draft all your basic bodies in. But I know that I will remember to add my seam allowances, so that's why I didn't add anything. So I'm going to go ahead and draft it out on my fabric. Guys, this is the back panel. So your back panel is just a basic back panel, but what I'll do is that at this line here, I'm going to cut it off. So just at the chest line, just like how we have it in front, I'm going to split it. But if you want, you can just stick to one color for the whole back panel. But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to cut it into 2 here and make this part black, like the plain color, and then still use Akara for this part, right? So this part will be black. So now remember that this here is going to be on a fold. So this part here is on a fold. So I'm going to go ahead and split it into 2 here and then cut exactly what I have here. Just your shoulder measurement divided by 2, come down by 1 inch of shoulder slope, armhole, bust divided by 4, and then my darts coming up to the chest line. The next thing is that I'm also going to come up here by 1 inch and then I'm going to blend it into the end here. Just because you don't want your zip to bulk up, right? So I'm going to blend it here. So this is another thing that I'm going to cut off here. And then I'm going to go ahead and trace everything out. So when I split it into 2, I'm going to make sure that I cut it on a fold like I just said. And then I'm going to make sure that there's ½ an inch at the end of each of them. So the way it is now, into 2, right? I need to make sure that when I cut this out, there will be half an inch at the end here, half an inch at the end here to join the 2 of them together, you understand? So I'm going to go ahead now and do that. So guys, this is it here. You see the back panel together like this. This is what we had before, remember? So now I'm gonna head and split it open, and you will see I have half an inch here, half an inch here. Once this half an inch join together, I will have back my full back panel. So all I have to do is just to take it and join the 2 of them together. Because this black is quite heavy, I will not be using lining at the back. And then you will notice that I notched this part of the back here. This is because of the dart, so I know my dart is going to go all the way to the top here. But that is after I've already joined the back panel together. And like I said, your back is going to be just one piece like this. So I'm going to join this to the bottom like this, and then add my dart. So this is going to be my back panel. And then for the front, this is what we are working with right now on the front. So I have this here, and then I've also cut lining for each of them. But the black part here, the fabric I'm using is called tetrax, so it's quite heavy. I'm not using lining for it. But for the front here, you will see what I did. Every part under here, you will see the half an inch to join it, right? But then the center part here, you see how I angled this here. You're supposed to angle it like this down, because I didn't give room for my extra 1 inch of zipper when I was doing it. So that's why when you go to sew it, don't cut it straight like this. You have to angle it down. That way, when the one that is coming underneath it comes in, it's going to come in. You see, this one also is facing down, because remember, this is the center of this one like this, right? So the zipper, when the 2 of them join each other like this, is going to form my zipper. So you can't cut it short here and cut this one short here. You have to just go with the flow of the like the angle, that is the direction of it. So see mine here, this was the center part. This is what it looked like before initially, right? Just like this. So you see, when I cut this one, I followed that same line, angled it, and then added one inch here for my zipper. The 1 inch here is also for my zipper, and then this is the other part of it here. You see, the parts here that have seam allowance are just the center parts that will meet the center part of this one, the upper part and the upper part that will meet the upper part of this one. So now I'm going to go ahead and start to cut. So I have 2 pieces of each one. This one here, I have 2 pieces of it here. This one here, I have 2 pieces of it also, one from each side. And then this one also, I have 2 pieces of it here. So I'm going to take it and join each one together. After joining it, then I'm also going to join the lining and then bring it back so you guys can see. You're going to calculate where you want the dress to be. That's from your shoulder to below your ankle, below your knee, and to wherever you want it to be. So let's say I want mine to be 46. So let's say this is 46 here. I'm going to subtract from this 46 my half length, which was 17.5, right? So let me get my calculator now. So I'm going to do 46 minus 17.5, which is my half length. So that is going to be 28.5. So that means my skirt length from my waist to the length of my skirt is going to be 28.5 in total. So the next thing I'm going to do is to measure around my waist. So let's say around my waist is 36. So 36 now, I'm going to write that one out. 36, I'm going to divide it by, so let's say around my waist is 36 divided by 3.14. You're going to use it for anybody, no matter the size you're making it for. But before you do this, you're going to add to the waist, measure around your waist, add 6 inches to it. The 6 inches is because you're working with a circle around your waist, right? We are going to have 2 zipper in front, so you need 1 inch of side here, 1 inch on the side here. You're going to have pockets, 1 inch for this in seam allowance of your side pocket, and then the other side 2 pockets, right? So 2 inches here, 2 inches here, 2 inches in front for the zipper. So that is 6 inches. So that's why to your waist measurement, you're supposed to add 6 inches. Except you don't want side pocket, then you only need to add 2 inches, which is just for the front zipper or back zipper, anywhere you want your zipper to be. So to my 36 now, I'm going to go ahead and add plus 6 inches, right? That will be 42. So now the 42 is what I'm going to divide by 3.14. No matter who you're making it for, you're going to divide it by 3.14, right? So that will be 13.37. So now I'm going to make sure that this 13.37 that I got from this here will be able to, if I add it, I'm going to add it to this 28.5, which was the length we got from minusing our shoulder to waist from the full length of the dress, right? So that 28.5 plus this so plus 28.5. But remember, you still need your 1 inch of hemming the end and half an inch of joining it to the waist, so plus 1.5. So that is 43. I need to make sure that the fold of my fabric, the way my fabric is folded now into two, I need to make sure that that's 43 point, almost 43.5 will fit in on this here. I already know that the length of Ankara is about 46, right? But I need to make sure that when the fold I just made now, this fold into two, I need to make sure that that 43.5 fits in. So guys, I've made sure that on a fold I have about 43.5, like I was saying. So now the next step is, you see this part is the part with the fold. I'm going to go ahead now and turn this over like this. This will help me be able to manage everything and cut it on this table. Because after folding it, you see that the first thing I did was to mark the measurement I got from dividing it by 3.1 fold, right? So that first measurement, which was 13 for me, 13.37 for me, I marked it here, right? And then the second measurement I have here is basically the length of the skirt, which is about 20, what did we get again? 28.5 plus 1.5. So that is about 30 inches here, right? 28.5 plus 1.5, that is 30. So that is the length of the skirt. So the total length I marked, this second line, basically, if you want to mark it, you're going to start from this angle here, and then you're going to just mark the whole 43.5 that we got is what you're going to mark here. But the first angle here is just our 13.5, which was the total of my waist measurement plus 6 inches divided by 3.14. And cut this out now, and also cut the bottom part, and we'll have our skirt. So guys, I've gone ahead and cut it out, and if you notice with the way I'm folding it, you see that I'm folding the upper part not to touch the end. I'm leaving about 1 inch on the side. That is going to be the one for the front panel where my zip would fit in. So that's why I have 1 inch at the end. So now I'm going to go ahead and split open this side, which is where my pocket will be. So guys, you see I've split it open. That means that now that I've split it open on the side here, you see that I have 2 pieces for the front, which is 1, 2. My zip is coming in front here, and then 1 piece for the back, which is this fold here. So this is just my back panel here. This is the back. So guys, this is the top here. I've gone ahead and joined it together. So this is how I joined it. Like I was telling you, I didn't want lining at the black part because it's quite heavy. Like I said, it's called tetrax. So what I did was to join the shoulder to the shoulder, and then I used bias to run the neckline. So guys, after that I used bias to finish up the neckline, and then you see this seam where I joined the back panel together here, and then you see my dart here on the back panel. This is my dart, this is my dart, coming up a little bit here and here, right? So the back is done, and then this is, and you see I iron this up here so that when I go to join my sleeve, I will still use the end of this here. The same goes for this in front. So you see the two piece of this here in front here, I joined it. So the two sides of the front here is joined together with this center seam. The two piece of the fabric itself is joined together with this center seam, and then in between it I hemmed in the front panel in between like this. So you see the end of this front panel, just start from the end here and put it in between your lining. Even if you use lining to turn your own too, you can still just fix everything inside and then use this here to turn it over like this. And then another thing I did is that once I got to the end here, I notched it once I got to this end here, because you need this part here to be out, because once you're joining your sleeve, when you come down to this place, you still need to hem it into this side here. Like once you're joining it and you come to this part, you still need to hem it with the end of your cloth here. So the only part you're going to join is wherever this piece stops. So mine stops here. I just notched it like 1/4 of an inch so that the piece, this end here, will come out instead of being tucked in like this. You see, instead of being tucked in like the end of it. That way you will still have what you hold on to when you go to add your sleeve. You understand? So that's what you're going to do for the two of them. So, and then after that I use bias to hem it. So now let me go ahead and cut my sleeve. So this is what I'm using for my sleeve here. So the width here is about, so let me fold it into two first. This is what we have here, folded into two like this, and then the length is about, total length at the moment is 17.5. So after that, I'm going to go down, come down here by 2 inches, because I don't want it too puffy, right? So I just came down by 2 inches, connected it from this end. Sorry, once you come down 2 inches, the next thing is to mark your cap height, which is 4 inches here. Like I was telling you, the width of mine is 14, right? And then I'm going to connect from this point here all the way to the end here. Find halfway through and just draw in my basic sleeve. But once you give it a curve below, the next curve you're going to give it is going to just go all the way to the top. Instead of, normally our sleeve, the curve above is just going to end here. But this extra 2 inches is for that little tiny pleats that they have at the top of the sleeve for the puff, right? So I'm just going to go up here and connect it to the top like this. So this small part here is what will form my puffiness, just from here to here, right? So once that is done, everything will be cut straight. I'm not going to angle it like this. It's just going to remain straight all the way down. So let me go ahead and cut from here all the way out. So guys, now this is my sleeve. You see, I've cut out that piece here and let it out like this. So now I'm going to just split open this one here, and then I have 2 sleeves. So all I have to do is just to go ahead, and then at the bottom part here, let me make this so I know this is the front, right? So at the bottom part here, all I have to do is just fold in about 1 inch here to make a casing for elastic at the bottom here, just at the lower part here. That way I have 1 sleeve for each side, one here, and then this is the second sleeve here. You see, both of them will be joined to the dress, to the top part here. And then another thing I've done also is that I've gone ahead and added pocket to my skirt. So to your skirt, all you have to do is just like I was telling you, you have 3 pieces, right? Let me open mine up so you see. There's 1 piece at the back, and then these 2 pieces coming towards the front. You see my side seam here, and then you also see my side seam here, right? So using 1 inch, and then this is the center one that will be folded in like this to give it the zipper coming up, right? So you see, I've gone ahead and joined everything together, stopped somewhere here, and then hemmed the end of my skirt and ironed everything down. So now another thing I did is that because I would like mine to have a pocket, I came down, when I was closing my seam, I came down about 1.5 or almost 2 inches, and then left about 6 to 5 inch opening here, continued the seam all the way to the end. I did the same thing on this other side. Come down 1.5 from the beginning, you start your seam 1.5 from the waist of the skirt, skip opening about 5 inches or 5.5 or 6 inches, and then continue the seam all the way down. After that, the next thing you're going to do is just cut out what you want as your lining. This is what I used here. It's about 8 inches by 7. To do that, you're just going to hem one end of it on one side of your seam, hem the other one on one side of your seam, close up the upper part, close up the bottom part, and then you have your pocket. You see, I have my pocket now. It's just go ahead, couple my upper parts together, join it together towards the front, and then add a zipper. I'm going to be using an invisible zipper for mine. So guys, this is it. So once I finish joining the sleeve, closing up the 2 sides, I join the upper part to the lower part here, and then I just put my center zip here. So you'll see I've added my zip here. So that's basically what it looks like all the way to the end here. So you see my center seam going up, and then I try to add an invisible zipper. So this is it here. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.